Welcome home, neighbors, to episode 270 of the My DVC Points podcast. Today, we are doing a market recap report, and we bring our sponsors in once a month to just talk about some of their latest blog posts out there, share their website with you, and go on with it. And today, I am happy to bring back to the show my friend, Dani. How you doing today, Dani?
I am wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. We have both been very busy, so it's so nice to be back and catch up with you.
Oh, you think I have been busy since we
you've
have
been hopping
recorded. You
around.
have a little bit new bling to show, don't you?
I do.
Yes, congratulations, Dani. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I got engaged in Italy. It was unbelievable. But and you've been everywhere as well. I'm pretty sure
I have.
you've
I've been to Detroit like multiple times. I've been to California multiple times. I've been like just craziness, right? Craziness. I had my weekend here with McNair. I just dropped him off at the airport from our Patreon event where you got to hang out with an Imagineer for a couple days and tour the parks and go through all the stories. So it's just been a ton of fun, and I'm tired. Okay.
I know. It's like, I just need, look, I'm probably going to get up and go again sometime very soon, but I just need a couple weeks to just sleep.
Yeah. Well, next Monday, I'm back in Detroit again for a week. So it's just 20 levels of crazy. And then I'll be back to Orlando, back to Disneyland, back to Orlando, back to Detroit. Like it's just, Mr. Jet Set these days. But
that's awesome.
We are here to talk about what's been going on with the ROFR monster, what's been going on with resale, what's been going on with inventory that's out there. And then we're going to end the segment. We're going to end today's show with a new segment called Sleep In, Not On These Resorts. And
we were really proud of coming up with that one.
Yeah, we're kind of proud of that. We just came up with that title, right? It's so what we're going to talk about in that segment is these are what we think you guys should seriously be taking a look at in the market today based on what we know from years and years and years of experience buying and selling DVC, me personally, Dani doing it professionally. So that's a fun segment, and that's really what our audience really likes to hear. They want to know what we would do and why we would do that. Okay. Not just reading web pages to you guys and stats and figures, but we want the insights and the analysis. And if you'll hang on to the end of the show, we'll give that to you as well. Mm-hmm. So in the meantime, if you guys could please like, subscribe, share the show. If you're catching this live, we would love to have you come back in and share us out and make sure your friends or people who are looking into DVC, or more importantly, if they're researching DVC right now, share this show out to them because we think it's got some great information and it's really got the pulse on the resale market. It's a pretty popular show that we do. So let's kick this off, Dani, with our first segment here. And it's talking about ROFR Monster. They're still buying.
Yep. So as we know, Grand Floridian is sold out direct. I'm sure you probably know they usually keep a little bit of inventory around, but for the most part, they are sold out. And that right now, for the last month, has been the only resort that they have bought back. But I don't know about you, Chad. I'm thinking that's going to ramp up pretty soon, if I had to guess.
Yeah, because we're going to pivot over into average sales prices here. And I think there's still a big enough gap on Grand Flow. And Disney has still done a whole boatload of marketing on this Grand Flow. They have just spent millions of dollars marketing Grand Flow, hyping it up. And so it's still coming up as a hyped up resort. It's still the premier destination. Like it's the top of the Walt Disney World food chain here. So I think that
it's like
resort's
the calm
going to
before the storm. Like I'm waiting for it to just explode. I mean, I know on our end, it's been super popular. Like we cannot keep the Grand Floridian contracts on the site. They're selling so fast. Just as you go to make an offer, it's gone. But I'm just like,
I think the same thing. I think Grand Flow, they're still going to keep buying it because they've done all this marketing. It's a phenomenal resort. People are still going to want to stay there. We're looking at the dues charts and we're going, it's still the cheapest. It's the cheapest dues in Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
Okay. There's something to be said for long-term economic smart buying here. where I buy the cheapest resort dues wise, and then I go anywhere. That's still a valid strategy that's out there. And as we looked at new dues this month, since the last time we recorded, that's still going. But let's take a look at this and dial in, because we'll just switch over here to the average sales prices, where we're going to talk about October's cooled down. But while we're on Grand Flow, it hasn't cooled down. It's steady and stable at 160 a point, but it has sold out from direct at what? 230 a point it's selling for
230.
direct.
So this is my take on Grand Flow. Like, as you can see, it's pretty steady pricing, but I think we're going to see a huge jump in it in the next, I would say, like month or two. I think those prices are significantly going to go up. So what I would say is, if Grand Flow has always been a resort that you've wanted, if you've always wanted that premium resort super close to the park, jump on it now. Like, if you can even get a contract, because right now they're just going so fast, you know, all the ideal ones. But if you find one that you like, even download the DVC Resale Market app and set notifications on your phone so you can see when new ones come up on the site, and grab those while you can, because if they start buying back more rapidly,
it's just going to drive the prices up on Grand Flow. And right now that's $70 below retail.
Yeah.
And typically what we saw from years gone by, anything over $60 below resale was a target for the ROFR monster. I still think the marketing hype is there. I still think the resort is as awesome as it was. I think it's still got a lot of great reasons to own there and a lot of life left in that dues. I see this starting to sell more direct. And when it sells more direct, it means they got to ROFR more.
Yep.
That's kind of my take on it.
Exactly.
But okay, let's start to look at some of these other prices. So $3 over at Animal Kingdom. Not bad, but it's not the right direction that I want to see. Bay Lake Tower at 137. Be still my heart. Okay. We'll save this for the end of the show, but I'm probably gonna like rant a little bit on this.
Can we just, before we move on, can we just take a real quick look at prices of Bay Lake from this exact time last year to now?
166, 173, 160, 165, 137.
Like $30 to $40 per
point
less now. Yeah, we'll get in there. We'll get to it.
This is definitely one of our major discussions in the sleep in, not on resorts. Okay. And this is the reason why. Okay.
Yeah.
But, and Dani, what's going on with my beloved beach club over there?
So here's the thing. We're getting to the point. These resorts only have 18 years left on the deed. Look, there's going to be a point where
reality
as much as you love these resorts, because we do, they're the beloved resorts. People love Beach Club, Boardwalk, Boulder Ridge, but how much longer can we see that value before you're going to start needing to drop those prices significantly for people to be able to wrap their head around it? And I think we're starting to see that now. I think it's really becoming a reality. And I think a lot of people were waiting, like, what's Disney going to do with those 2042 resorts? And as much as we would all love to think that they're going to extend them, and they might, there's been no announcement. So what are you just going to?
Well, even if they do extend them, it's still going to come back in, and it's still going to have, unless they do the full 50 years, we don't know what they're going to do with it.
That's the thing. It's like, it's a huge gamble at this point. I mean, look, if you love Beach Club and Boardwalk and these 2042 resorts, and you'd be just heartbroken if you can't stay there, then you have to buy this.
You got to pay it. You got to pay it. You got to do it.
But if you are more open to staying at other resorts, you are more flexible. It's like, are you going to take that big gamble if you don't see the value? I just think we're going to start to see significant drops in those prices.
Hold that thought, because we still have the 7-month window coming back up, and that'll come up in our sleep in, not on. Okay. I keep pitching that segment. So
I know, I love it. I think you should tell all your friends. I think it should become a big thing. I think we should hashtag it, to be honest.
Yeah, we should. we should make that a thing, Dani. We definitely should.
Trademark.
And then just dropping down the list here, Boulder Ridge, while Beach Club took a plummet, Boulder Ridge took a spike. So somebody's still loving on Beach Club here at 118.
Yeah.
It's
I think really what happened there, especially with the renovation and everything, I think there was, marketing from Disney, and then just we don't have too many of those. So supply and demand, I think you had
it
going
is
on there.
it is a very small resort. It's probably what, second or third smallest here in Walt Disney World.
Yeah, and I think just, people just have a lot of memories at that resort. It kind of holds
And
a
the
special
refurb is
place.
phenomenal.
And
Let's just be
yeah,
honest,
yeah.
okay?
hmm
It was in dire need of some love, and Disney worked their magic on it
And not
because
only was
the
there
new rooms
marketing,
are legit.
yep, and not only was there, marketing from Disney, but all the YouTubers and blogs and everything were talking about it. It's definitely, there's been a lot of buzz around this resort.
Yep. We've already covered Grand Flow quite a bit. Old Key West down to 88. It's stable there,
Yep.
right? It's stable there, but man, that's a little lower than I thought it would be or should be. I didn't see us going back into double digit land for some
Yeah.
time, but here we are.
But look, you're at a 2042 resort, and the
Mhm.
dues went up pretty significantly in the, last year they went up pretty significantly. And then this year, a little bit further. So it's now, one of the more expensive dues at Walt Disney World, which I know we'll talk about in just a minute.
But look at this here for the Old Key West Extended. What that means is certain contracts have 15 years of more life on them because Disney extended them. And when those contracts go to resale, the extended date goes to the resale buyer.
Yep.
Now look at that price, 126. So the market is correcting here. You can look because it's the exact same resort. So you're talking $38 a point difference for those 15 years.
Which is wild because, if you look at pretty much every other resort, this price point this time of the year compared to this exact time last year, you're seeing a significant decrease. Whereas if you take a look at Old Key West Extended, it's identical to what it was last year. And you have one less year on the deed. So, that's a big one. I mean, but members love Old Key West. That one.
Oh, it's the most homey DVC resort we have.
And a lot of the cast members are, I'm sure when a lot of these members joined back in the 90s, a lot of those cast members are still there. And so it really is like going back home for them.
It really, truly is. It really, truly is. Polly, we still don't know what's going on with the new tower. I think that's helping our resale at this point in time. But I'm curious to see how that works out and shakes out as well.
Yep.
And
I think getting, I don't know. I really don't think you can lose with all the marketing that's going to be done for Poly for the new tower. I don't know how you can lose by buying into it, but
no, even if it's a separate resort, it's still the Poly. And it's still classic, iconic Walt Disney World resort.
Right.
It is still front and center in front of that castle. Like it is still on the monorail. It is a phenomenal resort with huge rooms and a great place to stay for your family. Riviera starting to cool down a little bit to 128.
Yep.
And I think that's probably, dare I say, a little bit low for what I think is left for that resort, given the 40 plus years left on it.
Yep. I mean, look, there's two sides. I have clients that just love that resort. They're like, I don't care. I just sold a couple just the other day. I don't care if I can only stay at Riviera. I love that resort. It's prime location. You got the Skyliner. The rooms are beautiful there. And then you have those folks on the complete opposite side of the spectrum. I don't think any thinking on it is right or wrong. I just think this one is really just personal preference. And it's hard to kind of explain why the pricing is doing what it's doing, because it's either, you have those that love Riviera and are willing to only stay there, or where you just don't maybe at the time. Maybe there's a lull in those buyers.
And I think that's the key thing. There's only 2 resorts out there that if you buy that resort, that's the only place you're staying. And right now that's Riviera Resort and Disneyland Tower. But Disneyland Tower doesn't have enough volume and momentum for us to really talk to it yet.
Right.
It's There's been a couple come up and go, but nothing really.
Hmm.
And then Saratoga Springs at 111. I'm what's that have? 12 years left on it from 2042,
Yeah,
13 years.
2054.
Yeah. Yeah, 2054. So 13 years, some 12, yeah, 12 years. 12 years. I need to do a little bit of quick math.
Hmm.
So I think the market's adjusting, but look, it's 3 more years from 126 to 111. It's the market's definitely telling us what those years are worth.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, look, I've never met a member that said, I wish I had less years on my deed.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't got to that age point yet where it's
Right.
like we want to just hand it over and give it away, because if we did get to that point, Dani, you'd find us a buyer pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's now as we move over to the Disneyland and beach resorts here. So 268 for Grand Cal, that's still holding high.
It is. Yeah.
Although it has the volume started to stabilize, or do we?
I think we are going to see a little bit of a drop in Grand Cal because that is the price, but they're not really moving very much at that price. So that is the average, but they really haven't been going very fast. So I think we're going to
There's
start
definitely
seeing,
some supply there that's hanging around on the market.
yeah.
And
There's not a lot of, that's the thing. It's weird. There's not a lot of it. It's not like there are a lot of Grand Cal listings. It's just, I think people are kind of just waiting to see what happens there.
yeah, that makes sense to me, because we don't know what's happening to the Disneyland Tower resales yet.
Exactly.
And if those things bottom out, well, why would you pay Grand Cal? Because you're only buying each of them to stay at that resort.
Right.
Okay, let's just be
Exactly.
honest. That's the only reason why you're going to buy either of those. Like if you use your Grand Cal points anyplace else, it's because you got a hard gun to your head or something like that, and you're kind of being forced to use them before they expire. But you really didn't. You wouldn't buy Grand Cal today to use anyplace else. So, and you can't buy Disneyland resale to go anyplace else. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Looking at this, go ahead.
You do have the people that live on the West Coast that Grand Cal is predominantly where they're going to go. Of course, maybe they might want to do a Walt Disney World trip. Maybe they want to do Aulani, and that's the only resort that they own at. And in that case, I would still recommend, I mean, it's high, but I would still recommend doing Grand Cal because you're not going to get in there if you don't own there. So if it's the resort that you want to go most often, you don't really have much of a choice there.
Yeah. Hilton Head, Vero, those have cooled down a little bit, and I still think they're within range of that resort.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's 59 seems a little bit low for Vero, but again, 2042 is coming. Dues are exceptionally high.
Yeah.
They took a higher than average increase again, year after year after year. So I can see the market correcting for those high dues with that cost per point.
Absolutely.
I really can.
Yeah.
That's what I think is happening there as well. Now, Dani, you guys have a new promotion here called the Sign and Stay promotion.
Yes. So this promotion has never been done before, and I have just loved it. Being a sales agent for DVC Resale Market, it has allowed me to welcome home so many families that I could never welcome home before. So basically, sign and stay means it's just for select listings. So if you see up at the top that listings button, if you click that and then you go to, okay, here, yeah, let's show them how to get to it. And then just go to status and then go down a little bit and just make sure that sign and stay is clicked. And you'll see all of the sign and stay listings. So
right now there's 23 of them right here.
Right. There's 23 of them. And basically,
when they're gone, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. So this promotion is only going to last until the last sign and stay contract is on the market, and they're going very fast. And the reason for that is when you buy one of these contracts, it is $0 down. I'm talking no escrow and no down payment. So basically what will happen if you click into it and you go to the financing, you will see a down payment. But what's essentially happening is the seller is paying that down payment and escrow for you. So you pay $0 down until closing and transfer. Once the contract closes and transfers, you'll see that monthly payment. That's the monthly payment that you will pay as soon as that contract has closed and transferred. But before that, $0 down. And now is the
Wow.
perfect time for that because, everybody, it's the holiday season. This is typically a slower season for resale
Well,
market because everybody's spending their money on presents and stuff for the
yeah,
holidays.
and the whole world has Black Friday'd and pre-Black Friday'd us to death, right?
Exactly.
And Amazon
Exactly.
Prime Day us, and you know what I'm saying? Everybody's just been trying to do everything they can to claw that holiday money out of your wallet a little bit earlier.
Totally.
And I see what y'all did here. Y'all were like, hey, we ain't going to fight in that game. We're going to come back in and get it on the back end of this.
And
And
look, like the holiday times, this is when you spend time with the family. This is when you're thinking about that next trip that you want to do,
yeah,
And so I think I that's what I love about DVC Resale Market is, we're always trying to come up with ways to
new, creative, innovative ways to
exactly,
tap into the market and offer new services to people.
exactly,
I
yeah.
love it. I'd tell everybody to just make sure the math on these works,
Yep.
right?
And look, don't get me wrong, it's not for everybody. If you're
Yeah,
paying
it's not.
cash for a contract, it's not for you.
No.
This promotion was created for those people that, maybe everybody budgets a different way, right? For their vacations, and maybe their budget didn't allow those really significant
Yep.
upfront costs. And so you'll finance through Monera. It's a 12-year loan. The interest rate is 17.9%, but there are no prepayment penalties. So you can pay this off at any time. You can make prepayments toward the loan, no penalties whatsoever, and $0 down. So it's just
Yeah.
a really great opportunity. It has made my heart so happy because I have gotten the chance to welcome home so many families that just
Mhm.
never thought they would be able to get that money for the down payment.
Yeah. So my take on this is some very creative marketing. It's a very creative way to serve some people. Y'all just need to, pencil this out. I didn't take the time to do that to come back in and go, hey, does this really work for our family or not?
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
put it to the pencil test and see if it works. And if it does, I'm all for it because to your point, it's a creative way. You found sellers who are willing to come back in and do this. And but now I'm speculating here, right? If the seller is bringing all of this money to the table, I don't think I'm going to be able to get them down very much in my offer. I think I'm probably going to have to stay pretty close to that 121 on this contract to get the seller to go, okay.
Yeah, and look, sellers are willing to negotiate a little bit on these, but they do know how fast they've been selling. I mean, we only have 23 left. We sold 23 in 2 days last week. So they're going very fast. I mean, what I would say, my best advice to you, if you see one of these listings that you like and you have a few backup options that you're like, you know what, if this one doesn't work out, if it sells, I would be just as happy with these few. Great. Put in a little bit lower of an offer. I wouldn't do anything crazy, but a few dollars off for these listings. But if there's a listing that you just love and you don't see anything that compares, just put in a full price offer. It's not worth losing the listing just for a few dollars discount here and there.
Yeah. To give you guys an idea how fast these are selling. So Sue was coming to our Imagineer event the other day, and she is like a timely person. Sue from DVC Resale Market. When you meet Sue and you hang out with Sue, if she says she's going to be there at 10, she's there.
Right.
Okay. Like it's clockwork with her. And so about, 15, 20 minutes late, I'm like, Sue, are you okay? What's going on here? And come to find out, she had gotten three offers that came in on this sign and stay promotion and had to take care of business, which I'm 100% fine with. Like, you take care of the listeners, take care of the customers. That's what we're all about here. And so I was just like going, yeah, I was like, okay, well, now I know what I got to ask Dani about on our next live show where we're talking about what's going on with the market here.
Exactly. This promotion has been extremely successful. It's helped a lot of people. I don't think it will be the last time that we see this promotion.
Got it. I'm going to now back up here and we're going to transition to our next. No, I don't need to chat with you guys. I'm I've got you live, but that's a good demo for everybody as to how quick and easy it is to chat. So I'm going to hit clear filters here, and I'm going to go over to my resort, Bay Lake Tower, and take a look at this. So we have 58 contracts here with Bay Lake Tower.
People are sleeping on Bay Lake Tower.
Yeah, and this is our segment, Sleep In, Not On these resorts. Bay Lake Tower is my pick, and I think you're picking Copper Creek here, right?
Well, I mean, you just picked Bay Lake Tower first, so
okay.
That was Copper Creek's my second choice.
Okay. So we both picked Bay Lake Tower, but I'm looking at this and I'm going, holy bejeebers! You've got plenty of years of life left onto this. It's a 2060 expiration date. So you've got 35, 37 years, something like that coming up into this thing before you're out of points. It's on the monorail resort. It's got the second cheapest dues in all of Walt Disney World, second only to Grand Flo. And as we look at that, let me come back over and pull this up here. So Bay Lake Tower, new dues, $759. And then where is my Grand Floridian? $757. Yeah. 2 points less over Grand Flo. But look at this in terms of the price. You have got a ton of, when we came into that average sales price, scroll back up, 137 versus 160. And we're saying the 160 we believe is underpriced right now. So I think this 137 is underpriced as well. So this is why I'm telling everybody, do your research on Bay Lake Tower. And I get the whole buy where you want to stay, but there's another mentality that's out there that doesn't get enough talk in the world that talks about buy network points. Okay. Back in 2017, when I bought in, Saratoga Springs was the sweet spot for that. I'm looking at years left on the contract. I'm looking at dues. I'm looking at all of this stuff. I'm looking at desirability of walking to Magic Kingdom. Exactly. You get a great location.
I would venture to say that this is like the premium Saratoga, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's with a long deed.
With a long deed, right?
Prime location.
To me, seriously do your research on Bay Lake Tower. It's not too far away from a hard refurb. So they're going to come back in, tear down the rooms, strip them out, gut them out, spruce it up a little bit. It'll still be contemporary. They're not going to go too far from their core. But I think this resort, and it has got my second favorite 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom villa in there. That central living area where you're going to spend the most amount of your time hanging out with your family is huge, massive, wall-to-wall, wall-to-ceiling windows. The whole thing is just gorgeous. So
and you have a bunch of different room types too to choose from. So it really is great for, all different size families.
Yeah. The 1-bedroom sleep 5. So the studios are a little tight at 4, but I'm all about the 1-bedrooms at Bay Lake. Mm-hmm. And you got top of the world right up there. The Villain's Lair, phenomenal. Sleep at, not on Bay Lake Tower.
Sleep at, not on.
Yeah, maybe we should do that instead of sleep in, because that sounds like you're sleeping in. And
well, you can sleep in. I mean, don't sleep in because then you'll miss the whole day at the park. But
there's always nighttime parks, right?
That's true.
I'm just as much a fan on. So okay, any final thoughts on Bay Lake before we pivot over to Copper Creek?
No, I think so. Okay, I think it's really cool that Copper Creek pricing is where it is because there's. As we know, look, every resort is not for everybody. Everybody has their preferences. Everybody has a resort that's kind of near and dear to their heart or what they prefer. And so I really think that kind of the opposite buyer to Bay Lake Tower would actually be Copper Creek because you have a lot of theming there. It really transports you to a whole nother place. And so I think Copper Creek is another great resort are we going with sleep in or sleep at, not on?
Sleep at, it's a great place to stay. You've got Geyser Point there, but I'm talking about from a buying perspective here. The only thing that I see as a negative to owning Copper Creek is if you're a studio person,
It only
That has
sleeps
been
4.
an incredibly tight fight to get a
Yep,
studio at 11 months. However, it
that too.
has eased up as we've gotten past the 7-year mark, and more owners are now into the exploration stage as opposed to I want to stay at my home resort stage.
Right, right.
So I have seen that lighten up a little bit. And but my general take here is when I look at the deed expiration, and what are we there? 2060.
2068.
Yeah, 2068. So you've got another 8 years on Bay Lake Tower. Like another 8 years. Let's look at that then from a perspective here. For another from 141 to one for $4 more, I get 8 years.
It,
And
it's
look at the gap we saw down here for 15 years, what people are paying at Old Key West.
and it's
Like,
a premium location, and it's the longest, I would say, non-restricted. It's the longest deed in the classic 14 resorts.
mhm. So to me, I'm looking at Copper Creek, and just as I do own Copper Creek, let me fall on that sword, so I'm not pitching something that people think that I'm trying to, get my 200 points or 225 points there. Price is jacked, and no, I'm not. I'm not selling them. I'm keeping them. Really, truly am. I'm really, truly pointing this out because I think this is a resort worth looking at as I do the math on this.
Yeah.
And when we come back into the annual dues on this, so Copper Creek went up 2.19%. We're just now over $8 a point.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible for a water resort that has a boat, that has the water feature with the little fountain that they got to pay for in the resort. So
Only a
typically we
2%
pay
increase.
more for the water features, right?
Yeah, I mean that low increase is a good sign for the future. So yeah, we love a low increase.
Yeah, let's do that as well. And okay, let's end the show here right now with some listener comments as well, because we've had a couple of these come in and we've just been so into sticking to the agendas that we forgot to get to these. So I should have paid a little more attention. Angela says, good topic. Thinking of flipping Beach Club for something else. Decisions.
I know we're really getting to that point where 2042 owners are you got to start thinking about it.
Okay, so it's been slightly over a year since I've sold my beach club. And look at this, the 167. I think I got about that, or maybe 175 a point for some that I sold. But it was the first one that I sold when I had to do the pare down to get cash to build the house in here in Florida. And I did it because it was the only 2042 resort that I had.
Yeah.
And so I am right there with you of I'll play the 7-month game. I'll be flexible. I'll sneak into Beach Club when I can sneak into Beach Club. I still love the resort, but I'm cashing out. And I
Yeah.
think that's a fair thing.
I know it's heartbreaking because we love Beach Club and Boardwalk, but it's like, what do you love more? Do you love Beach Club and Boardwalk, or do you love being a DVC member? And it's hard. It's a hard one.
Yeah, to me, I'm willing to put up with the 7-month window.
Yeah.
I really, truly am. I'll cash out. I'll use some other points that can stay there. And that was my decision, and I'm sticking with it.
Mm-hmm.
Little buyer's remorse on the, or seller's remorse on the Bay Lake. Every time I step in the door, I'm not going to lie. Okay. I had 480 points at Bay Lake, sold them all. And I really wish I could have kept some of it as well. But I have Poly right around the corner. So I'm still owned on the monorail. I'm good.
You can buy them for less than you sold them for if you want.
Yeah, this is true. I could take my own advice if I just had more money to do that. So now Angela's saying, what do you think is a good buy if we were to flip the 80 BC points for something that has a longer term life than 2042?
Bay Lake Tower and Copper Creek.
Yeah, I think we answered that one pretty resiliently. Is that 141 for the longest life out there?
And Bay Lake, there's a lot of contracts to choose from. I really think people have been sleeping on Bay Lake, and it's like, what are you doing? Go check them out. There's a bunch to choose from. So lots of different use years if you have to stick within your use year. Lots of different point packages of all sizes. So,
and I think Rye Kim here he goes, I'm crying over Bay Lake Tower. Please refurb. It's due. It's coming.
Yeah.
I think we're in the same spot we are with the Bay Lake refurb that we, the fans, were about a year or so ago with Boulder Ridge going, when are you guys going to get around to this?
And now look at it.
And I know I did an interview with Rye. He owns some Bay Lake points in a significant amount. So that explains this statement here. He says, okay, thanks, Chad. You made me feel much better. And so, yeah, just verifying that that aspect there as well. So, Dani, let's wrap up today's show. And I want to come back in and ask or show people how they can follow up with you if they want to. Yeah. And it's really simple, right down here below. Dani at dvcresalemarket.com, 949-257-2425, right?
Yes. And also for our DVC members out there who like to travel, you can also find me. I'm doing a new series called Destinations with Dani. So I started it when we were over in Europe. There's a few more episodes coming out. So there was one on Tuscany that already came out. There's one coming out for Venice. There's going to be one for Switzerland. And then there's going to be a really fun episode coming out. We're going next month to the Christmas market. So I don't know if you know this, but there is a specific Adventures by Disney trip that just goes to the Christmas markets over in Europe. So we're going to be featuring some of that. And in these episodes, I kind of show you just some really fun alternative ways to use your points through our swap program. So swapping those points for either Adventures by Disney trips or Disney Cruise Line. There's just some really, really fun options. So if that's always been on your bucket list, make sure to tune into those, and you can find those over at the World of DVC Show YouTube channel. So check those out. And if you have any requests of where you want me to go next, make sure you put those in the comments. I'm trying to,
and don't challenge her guys, because like you could say Antarctica, and next thing you know, in my feed there gonna be something popping up with Dani and like the whole Eskimo suit kind of thing, or you know what I'm saying, like just bundled up. And she's a Floridian now. She got those clothes, right?
I mean, all you have to do is ask me twice. Like, I'm one of those people, you ask me once, I'm like, I don't know if I can make it work. And then you ask me a second time, I cannot say no. And look, they do an Adventures by Disney trip to Antarctica now. So maybe I have to go.
Yeah. And for those of you who are regular listeners of our show, we've been like diving into this whole point and mile thing. And Dani and her fiance are huge into point and mile. Like y'all got some business class tickets coming up that point redemptions, right? Like to Europe.
So I didn't film our plane ride over to Italy when we went last time. But this time we're flying business class because, we played with the points a bit, and maybe I'll film that. Is that something that you would want to see? Okay, cool.
My listeners have been eating it up with my whole family's fly free thing, and with Lynn, and it's turned on a lot of light bulbs for a lot of people as to, hey, I got a good deal going to Disney every year by buying DVC and staying deluxe every year. I can play some of these point and mile games with the credit cards and airlines and really come out ahead as well. So just know, and I throw that out there because if you're a point and miler, Dani is also with us. Okay. I'm just
part of the club.
Yeah. You're part of the club. You're on the insider. She knows the secret Chase Knox, right?
And look, I can travel economy with the best of them. I'm a little shorter. My fiance is really tall. He hates flying economy because he's like all squished in the seats. But let me just tell you, once you get a little taste of that business class, man, it's game over. It is hard. It is
game over, right?
Yeah.
And somebody on Facebook has made this comment. They love their first show, and she loves Italy.
Oh, thank you.
And then they also agree with us that free flights are the best feeling ever as well.
Anything is the best feeling ever, but free flights for sure.
And then I'm going to wrap the show up today, Dani, on this last comment, because we do value everybody's opinion here, even dissenting opinions. It's okay to disagree with us. We host these conversations so that people do consider this and do this. So Seth is saying, BLT is just a very specific style, though, and I think a turnoff to many like me. Also, a trip to Epcot is not a straight shot. You have to ride the Resort Loop monorail to TTC, switch trains, and then on the way back, you got to go down the ramp and up, and it's kind of a little bit of a pain, to his point. But again,
Absolutely.
for my 7-month points that I'm going to use in the network, I still say, look at that as a network resort. Even if you don't want to stay there, there's 13 other glorious resorts that you can book at, and some super cheap points with some super cheap dues. And that's kind of my story, and I'm sticking to it. But I do agree. It's the Bland Lake Tower is not for everybody.
And look, that's the thing. When you're buying DVC, you have to know yourself. You have to know your family. I always tell people, look, if you buy at Bay Lake and you are just going to be miserable if one time you can't get into a different resort that you want, then it's not for you. Look, it's just, there's 14 other of those classic resorts to choose from. So, just know yourself, know what's important to you, know your priorities, and go from there.
And that's the whole reason why we host these conversations, is to spark the conversation and to spark respectful dialogue with each other. And that's what goes on in the My DVC Points community. If you haven't joined us on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/My DVC Points, or just search for My DVC Points community, and you will find that we are a very respectful group of people that answer everybody's questions and share our opinions in an appropriate, respectful way. So again, thank you, Dani, for joining us on today's show. I look forward to you popping back up in the rotation and coming back on. I know we went really long today for a recap report, but I think it was a great show and some great content. And our buddy Linda Colby who's Miss Queen of Boardwalk, is right there agreeing with us. So thanks so much for joining us today, Dani.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really, really great catching up with you again. And I'll see you soon.
It was. And for those of you tuning in, as always, hopefully you learned something in today's show that'll help you go out there and buy, sell, plan something magical for your family, and really, truly do the research and do what's best for you. And we're here to help you do that. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great night.
Bye.